all the time.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Here we go again. Yep, and yep. Lori Johnson back at you on a wide open Wednesday. Or as the disc jockeys say, it's hump day. But first, let's go to La Jolla, outside San Diego, and Mr. Drew Brees, number 9, future Hall of Famer. Future first ballot Hall of Famer. Boy, what another pleasant day weather-wise in New Orleans. Tough to beat what we're experiencing right now, what we're going to experience for about the next week, including obviously through this weekend and French Quarter Fest. This is as good as it gets. I just mentioned going to La Jolla, San Diego, and Drew Brees. This is La Jolla, San Diego weather. About 73 outside. Sunny, clear, nice. Not hot, not cold, just perfect, like air conditioning outside. And it continues deep into next week. We may not see rain for the next week or 10 days. And we're going to see a lot of 60s and 70s. An obnoxiously good amount of 60s and 70s. It's stretching. You got to like that when we got that, those scares last week peeking into the 80s a few days. 85, 86 degrees in early April. El Succo. No, that's no bueno. But waking up in the high 50s and low 60s every morning, and then peaking out in the mid 70s, that's pretty darn good weather. That's what we've got for about the next week or 10 days going into late next week. And like I said, that means this Thursday, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, starting tomorrow, 11 a.m., French Quarter Festival 2025. It's going to be a record fest, huh? Sunny and clear every day. High temperatures in the 70s every day. I don't know how you beat that. I guess if there were temperatures in the 60s and sunny, it'd be better. Pretty good. I mean, we've had French Quarter festivals where it's hot. It's oppressive. Same with Jazz Fest. Zurich Classic. No, stretch this spring-like weather on for a few more weeks. Yeah, because speaking of the other things I just mentioned, French Quarter Fest starts tomorrow. The Zurich Classic Round 1 a week from tomorrow. Jazz Fest weekend number 1 2 weeks from tomorrow. Jazz Fest weekend number 2 3 weeks from tomorrow. It's all coming our way the next 4 weeks. Out of control. French Quarter Fest, Zurich Classic, and then 2 weeks of Jazz Fest. Can I get a yeah, you right? Got a good one lined up for you. So much has been going on nationally, internationally with the president. There are lots of national shows you can check out. I pop in every night to a few of them. I get carpal tunnel. I'm like on 24, 29, 50-something, 72, 70, 75 now. I think they move News Nation or Newsmax, one of them from the 50s into the 70s, I think, where MSNBC is. I'm a Cox subscriber, so, yeah, I'm going from like Fox to CNN to Newsmax to News Nation to MSNBC. The Cuomo show is probably the only show that I land on like maybe once a week for about 15, 20 minutes, and then I'm done. I don't really like too much, political news talk stuff. I really don't. It's extreme left or extreme right. It's 50% BS and nonsense. And it's a lot of lightweights on both sides hosting programs. I have a problem with like local talk radio in New Orleans because I like talk radio. I don't know if I'm a talk radio junkie. But if we had like multiple stations, multiple viable hosts, and real competition, like most cities, most markets, even smaller than New Orleans, I'd be tuning in. But there's not a lot, it's like a big void in New Orleans. We're like a talk radio desert. Not a lot of insightful, learn something, cutting edge hosts, that kind of stuff. But I kind of think the same thing applies to the left wing or right wing political talk shows. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't find them funny or humorous, really. I kind of, it's really kind of depressing watching the programs. And when you see shows canceled, like Joy Reid and some of these other shows just outright canceled, it makes sense. Depressing. I never, ever watch Joy Reid. I would land on her like on mute, and I would see like the screen and who else is up there, and I'd be like, what is this? What is this? Anyway, so not a big fan of that stuff, but I am a big fan of following, what's going on in the world, politics and the like. I happen to host a talk radio and TV program. I got two guys on that I think are fantastic. They're national pundits, but both born and raised right here in New Orleans, both about the same age, a little older than me. Quin Hillyer, right-leaning his entire life. He's a Jack Kemp, Ronald Reagan, George Will type of conservative. He's legit. He's Liz Cheney. He's not a populist. He's not flaky, one thing on Monday, the opposite on Tuesday. How he felt about tariffs a year ago, 10 years ago, today is all the same. And he is a true conservative. There's no two ways about it. You can check out a lot of his stuff on his website, quinhillyer.com. Quin with one N. Hillyer spelled Hillyer. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer is going to join us in about 5 minutes. Went to Newman, went to Georgetown, was on the Beltway for a while. Left-leaning Ellis Henican, a Jesuit boy, Columbia, New York City. Left-leaning Ellis Henican. You can check him out, Henican.com, Henican, Henican.com. Liberal Ellis, conservative Quin. It's all coming your way in about 5 minutes with a slew of national and international topics. They're going to be able to get on it like it's nobody's business. And what I love, they're like diametrically opposed. Like 85, 90% of the time, they totally disagree, but they're never raising their voice at each other. They're never yelling at each other. I mean, I basically can throw out a question and sit back and just put my feet up on the desk. I should record my voice just saying, Ellis? Quin? After Ellis says something, Quin? And then Quin goes off, and then after he's like, Ellis? I mean, I almost don't have to ask, but maybe one question to start it, and it just goes. Anyway, stick around for that. A few minutes away, another edition of Hillyer and Henican. I love it. As predicted, what have I been saying the last few days on the program? I didn't use the word pause. I said remove, eliminate the tariffs. And today, Donald Trump paused all tariffs except for China. The Dow Jones surged. Just as I said, the stock market's going to do the opposite. Now, this isn't like, wow, Corey, you're a genius. But predicting that Trump would get rid of the tariffs, the writing's on the wall. Now, And I even said that Trump will take credit. All of this was, quote, planned. We'll throw out the tariffs. It's going to be painful. And then we'll get rid of them, and the stock market will surge again, and everybody will be happy. Dow Jones surged 2,000 points, up 5%. The S&P's up nearly 6%. The NASDAQ up nearly 7%. Trump pausing tariffs on all countries except China, where he increased the tariff to about 125%. We'll try to understand all of this. We'll get a couple of professionals, people that are paid to do this for a living. We'll get Quin and Ellis's take on all of this coming up next. And what I love about it, one's left-leaning, one's right-leaning, get both sides, and they're smart, and they're commonsensical, and they don't yell at each other, and they discuss things, and you'll learn something like I do when I get these two guys on. Hey, Total Maintenance is there for you. I turned on the AC today, got up to about 75 inside the house a little while ago. Put the air conditioning on 74 just to get some air circulated through there. Got a lot of festivals coming up, as I said. It doesn't matter if it's a weekday, a weekend, an overnight, or holiday like festival weekends. Total Maintenance is there. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, if you need air conditioning help, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com, Total Maintenance.
Total Maintenance, TM-AC.com, your cool spots. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand up. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades. On Jefferson Highway, across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LaBarre by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
I'd say the old line from one of my favorite cartoons, if you're not careful, you might learn something, but the guy who created the cartoon's a maniac, and I don't want to mention his name or the cartoon anymore, but it was one of my childhood favorites. And one of the lines was, if you're not careful, you might learn something. And that's how I feel when I get these two guys on, a couple of New Orleans natives, national pundits. We got right-leaning Quin Hillyer joining us on the program. What you say, Quin?
Glad to be back on with you. It's been a while, but happy. Hello to all your listeners.
Yep. And we've got left-leaning Ellis Henican joining us. What up, Ellis?
Always a pleasure to be with you guys.
You can check out Quin online, Quin with one N, Hillyer, QuinHillyer.com. Ellis can be found at Henican, Henican, Henican.com. Boy, it's been a crazy, I don't know, I guess, what will we say, Quin? Trump administration so far?
It's been insane. Yeah, absolutely insane.
I thought you were about to curse for a minute there. I was like, Quin doesn't curse.
No, just insane.
Ellis, I got scared. I thought Quin might drop some bad word the FCC wouldn't like talking about the Trump administration.
That's right. You could say insane, crazy, scary, relentless, lurching. I mean, I could give you about 50 words for it, but it's been quite a ride. I'll say that.
Hey, Quin, I hate doing this to you because I've done it a few times before. It's pathetic that I even have to say this, but you're not a fan of Trump in the least bit, but you are I'd say a staunch conservative cut out of like the Jack Kemp, Ronald Reagan, George Will mode. Is that pretty accurate? Because some folks I get you on and they rhino fake conservative, and it's like calling Liz Cheney a fake conservative. I find it comical.
It is comical. I mean, and you can look back, literally public record for, it'll be 50 years a year from now. So 49 years of public record, and even longer than that, as a very outspoken, very solid Reaganite conservative. And you still listen to me on policy choices, and I am. It's just a question of somebody that is not a conservative that for some reason people are calling one, and he's occupying the White House.
Ellis, this tariff thing, first just the tariff attack, and now basically pulling them all back. Donald Trump's going to tell you this was the plan all along. What do you say? Just winging it, or this was the plan all along?
Well, we know it wasn't the plan all because we've just been hearing for the better part of a week about how this was going to produce these huge revenues for the government. It was going to reduce the national debt. That was one of about 7 other explanations for the tariffs, including border control and fentanyl and returning of manufacturing and listen, none of it made sense. My theory is that at base here, what Donald Trump likes about tariffs really doesn't have that much to do with trade. It has to do with control. It has to do with other countries coming to him and begging for stuff, and that he loves the idea of having that individual control, being the person who determines winners and losers, punishing his enemies, assisting his friends, and he couldn't put his finger on it. There's nothing conservative about any of that stuff. It goes against the basic principles of conservatism, but what it aligns with is all of the principles of individual authoritarianism, and I think that was the whole point of it.
Quinn?
I agree, I believe, with every word that Ellis just said. Oh, my goodness. Yes, indeed. No, but look, let's look at this logically here. If Trump's goal was to land where he lands now with this 90-day pause, why do this in the first place? He has literally pushed Japan and South Korea into the arms of China, where they were now talking about trade agreements with China, which they had never considered before, all as a response to his threats. So if his goal is to be tough on China, why is he pushing our allies towards China? Why would he not have just not done this public threat of an actual enactment for a couple of hours of tariffs? Why wouldn't he have just gone to all of our allies and said, hey, let's all get together and gang up on China, and we can have freer trade among us and cut China out? If China is his goal, then he's gone about it the exact wrong way.
I mean, historically speaking, Quinn, post-World War II, what the United States did to the rest of the world, and I mean in a positive way, the westernization, our enemies becoming our allies, our way of life spreading all across the world, Donald Trump would make you believe like that was a major mistake, how America handled things post-World War II, and it all needs to be fixed now, and he's going to make it right.
Which is and that's right. That's what he's trying to do. And that is insane because the United States has had the greatest increase in national wealth, in individual net worth, average individual net worth, average standard of living, every single measure of prosperity, comfort, lack of poverty, et cetera, since World War II, since they've gone into this, world leadership, free trade sort of posture for the last 80 years, we have had the greatest increase in wealth in the history of humankind. Why does Trump think that that's not a good thing?
Ellis, what do you say with folks that say, look, this guy's the master negotiator. He's a deal maker. That's what he does. He's a billionaire because he's a great deal maker and he makes it work on his terms, and all this tariff on, off, whatever. It's irrelevant. It's all part of his plan to get the people to the table and work out a deal that's better for the United States than the present deal.
I think we can call it the art of capitulation. The more we learn about the negotiating strategies, the more what it really amounts to, I think, is causing a huge ruckus and then quickly surrendering, right? We just saw it today on the tariffs. We've seen it in Ukraine. The supposed peace we're going to get there really seems to involve surrendering to Vladimir Putin. And again, Quinn is right. I mean, we've had 80 pretty good years here. Right? I mean, we truly did have, as of a couple of months ago, an economy that wasn't perfect, but it was indeed, as The Economist magazine put it on the eve of the election, the envy of the world. And we had every reason to think that these trends were going to continue. Inflation, which had been the nagging problem, continuing to come down. The NATO never being stronger, right, as all of our allies were realizing what an advantage it was to have friends in the world, have people watching your back. I am not able to think of another case of greater self-inflicted harm than we have been doing over the past couple of months. Now, Quinn or Corey, you may know one from history, but damned if I can think of. The last time we had self-inflicted harm that was this bad this quickly was when the Great Depression had already started. It had already been, been an economic shock, but what turned it from a normal depression into the Great Depression was, guess what? It was our position of tariffs. The Smoot-Hawley tariff bill was what made the bad recession into the Great Depression that lasted for a full decade. Trump is doing exactly what we have already learned, what we learned 95 years ago, is the exact worst thing to do for your own nation's economy. You know what? Let me add one quick thing. There is something, I think, we always try to find good in the bad, right? And I do think that the significant numbers of Americans, as they watched their college funds go down, as they watched their retirement funds yo-yo so dramatically, still down 7 or 8 points on the S&P, even despite the 10% shocking rise, huge rise today as Trump blinks. I do think it made a lot of Americans think, you know what, maybe this isn't such a good road that we're going down. I certainly, Quinn, heard a lot more voices on the right, even among Republicans in the Senate and the Congress, expressing some real reservations that we had not previously heard. So maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but I do see some little glimmers of hope out of this experience. I wish I saw that hope. I mean, I have seen, some of the right-leaning intelligentsia who had been playing footsie with Trump are now not playing footsie quite as openly. But you've had representative Republican congressmen, whether House or Senate, after Republican congressmen come out and kowtowed Trump. They know better.
Hold that thought, Quinn. We're going to come right back to that thought. Coming right back, New Orleans.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. Get Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint. That's why.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Love getting these guys on the program. Another edition of Hillyer and Henican, right-leaning Quin Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican. Quin, going into that break, sorry to cut you off. You were talking about maybe some Republicans bending over backwards for Trump. Yeah, Quin, I apologize for cutting you off during that last break. You were what, talking about some Republicans bending over backwards for Trump?
Yeah, look, they know that these tariffs are bad. They know that. They have said that they've been pro-free trade their whole life. People like John Kennedy of Louisiana. Now, to Kennedy's credit, he has offered a few tepid reservations about Trump's tariffs. By his past stances, he should be out there blasting the tariffs, but at least he's offered some reservations. Cassidy hasn't, as far as I've seen. As a matter of fact, I thought I saw a tweet from him that said these are great. Katie Britt of Alabama, who darn well knows better, she's been all out there just jumping up and down saying these tariffs are great. Now she's got egg on her face because Trump has pulled them back. Again and again and again, these people show no spine, I'll just leave it at no spine, or I didn't get, no guts, no other body parts, and no principle.
Ellis, the simple trust in Trump, it's like there's not enough history here, yeah, I know he was president before. I'm not saying he doesn't have any political history. He was president before. but it isn't like, boy, there are just so many things you can clearly look at and say, everyone was against that. Trump said do it, and look how great it came out. I mean, the trust in Trump thing is just sort of like a child, just trust in the adults if they're right or wrong. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, Corey, it's one of the dangers of being a suck-up. You start saying that you agree with things that you don't really agree with because either you're too loyal or too fearful or too nervous or you lack independence or whatever those body parts that Quinn was alluding to a moment ago. And then the guy you doing all that stuff will pulls the rug out from under you. Right, then all of a sudden he's not for this thing anymore. He's pulled back with this 90-day pause and backs away from all the things that he has gotten his supporters to rally around to cause themselves political problems. I mean, there's now sound bites that are just sitting there ripely waiting for political opponents to use them against all these weak-kneed supporters. And then the guy you're doing it for hangs you out to dry. It is a lesson that I think might be worth learning. I don't know if they'll learn it, but it sure would be smart to learn.
Now, Ellis, I play golf, and I'll hit a crappy shot like on a par 3, and it might roll right up on the green and go right by the hole, and I'm not that upset, and it was a crappy shot. If there's a pond in front of that green and it goes in the water, I'm ticked off at that crappy shot. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. We can sit here and dog Trump, say it's right, it's wrong, it's good, it's bad. The end result, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, if a bunch of trade agreements are done and they're better than before, and the economy's humming along, and the stock market's cruising along, and Trump, he's like, man, this was all part of the plan, rolling one up by accident or putting it in the water. It's the same shot, but the end result could be different. So can Trump, he can come out smelling like a rose when all this is over. The stock market's taken off today. A lot of foreign countries this is the United States. It doesn't matter who's president. We have to step up and start negotiating with them. We need them. They're the shining light on the mountaintop. So Trump could come out fine on all of this, right? And argue that he's correct on everything.
Corey, I would love that to be true. Listen, I mean, I don't want my retirement plan to be in the toilet. I wish I were richer. I want all of those things to be true. But there's a lot of reason to be skeptical about it. And among them was one we were talking about a moment ago. Think of the damage this has done. Even in the reversal, even if the stock market is back, we picked up half of what we've lost. Think about what it's done to undermining the reputation of the United States around the world, to people thinking we're a reliable trade partner. One of the things that I believe really caused the president to blink was that the bond markets were falling apart last night. Right, that the Japanese and the Chinese and others who buy our bonds, which is what funds our national debt, we're abandoning that. We're moving away from that. And that has huge consequences. That really is the plumbing of our national economy. We focus on the stock market because that's more exciting and things are jumping up and down. But those boring bonds really do represent whether people believe that the United States is a safe haven economically. And there's been tremendous damage done to all of that. Companies wonder whether this is really a good place to invest. Is Trump going to just insert a bunch of new tariffs in 90 days or some other whim? But it's undermined things in a way that, Corey, while I hope that you're right, I'd love you to be right, there's some pretty solid evidence that makes that seem kind of unlikely.
Quinn?
Yes. Yes. What he said. Look, I do want to praise Trump for one thing that he did like 3 days ago that unfortunately he just undid today. This is to show how mercurial, how inconsistent he is. Okay, Joe Biden made a terrible mistake by ruling out Nippon Steel's purchase of U.S. Steel, which was going to put millions and millions of dollars into plants in Ohio, saved thousands of jobs, but the union bosses didn't want it, so Biden nixed it. Trump said he was along with Biden, he would keep it nixed. until, a couple of days ago, when Trump suddenly said he is ordering the Special Committee on U.S. Foreign Investment to reopen that, to reconsider whether they should let Nippon Steel from Japan, one of our allies, mind you, put tons of money into U.S. Steel, just like over here in Alabama, where I am sitting right now, Austal from Australia and Airbus from Europe are employing thousands and thousands of U.S. workers, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Trump said he would reopen it. The stock of U.S. Steel jumped up by 15% overnight. The workers there got excited. It looked like he was finally doing something right, okay? Letting a foreign country put its money into our workers. Guess what? Right at the end of the day today, Trump says, I love Japan, but that's a special U.S. company we have here. We don't want Japan investing in there. Guess what? The overnight stock ticker for U.S. Steel just went down 7 points again. And you know what that means? That means just like the rest of the stock market with his tariff stuff, it means pensioners, retirees, 401k holders, IRA owners, everybody who has any investment, even if you don't know you have an investment, but if you've got a pension fund, it likely has U.S. Steel in it. And guess what? You just lost a lot of money because Trump opened his big mouth again.
It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer is with us, left-leaning Ellis Henican. Hey, Ellis, Donald Trump wants to revitalize the coal industry. Does that also mean black and white televisions and rotary dial phones will soon be coming back into play?
There is, if what you're hitting at, of course, that there is a whiff of nostalgia in all this stuff that sometimes is not realistic. There's a reason. Let's just face it.
Exactly.
There's a reason that we buy a lot of stuff overseas, because there's some things that make more sense to have be manufactured in other places, either because the labor is cheaper, because there's greater ability to do it, because the natural resources are there. In the same way that it makes sense for us to send things, grain is a really good example, oil is another, to other countries. That's what trade is. When you make a trade deal, both sides feel like it's for the better. So I don't think it's likely that the black and white TVs are going to come back. I don't think the coal industry is going to come roaring forward. I don't think we're going to make Nikes and iPhones in Michigan and in Pennsylvania anytime soon. And we'd be better off under the current system than we are in that nostalgia.
Hey, Quinn, coal is gone for a reason. Gas is cheaper, it's cleaner, it's easier to deal with. Coal's more expensive, it's dirty, even clean coal. Natural gas is the reason coal's gone, right?
Natural gas, among other things.
Yeah, a bunch of other things.
And look, there is something to be said for coal being a relatively inexpensive energy product, and it's good to have choices. It's good to have options. It's easier to get coal from West Virginia to Maryland than it is to get natural gas from the Gulf up to Maryland. But there's a reason why, both environmentally and economically, why we have started moving away from coal. And it's one thing for Trump to say we're not going to go out of our way to discriminate against coal. That's okay. But to say we're going to bring back coal and basically make it sound like he's going to make it the primary energy source again, that makes no sense.
No.
It's just spouting off and playing to the crowd in this case in West Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky.
Yeah, no, exactly right, Quinn. That's right. Hey, we're coming right back. It's another edition of Hillyer and Henican, our final break. We got a lot more to cover. Ukraine, Russia, China, Israel, Hamas, so much more. Corey Johnson with you, along with Quin Hillyer and Ellis Henican on a wide open Wednesday. Don't move.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint. Supply.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Another edition of Hillyer and Henican. Right-leaning Quin Hillyer, left-leaning Ellis Henican are with us. You can check out Quin online, quinhillyer.com, Quin with one N. Ellis can be found at Henican.com. Hey, Quin, Ukraine just sort of gets pushed off on the side. You know what's amazing? Have you noticed in the last month the influx of Russian tweets and propaganda on Twitter, Quin? Like the last 4 to 6 weeks, it's through the roof. All these pro-Russia folks.
Oh, absolutely through the roof. And by the way, on the topic we were talking about earlier, where were the tariffs on Russia? Why was Russia exempted or certainly not focused on with the tariffs?
Yeah, great point. Great point. Why were there no tariffs on Russia? No, it's mind blowing.
That was a good question. But, we should not forget about Ukraine. I mean, it's really bad stuff is happening there. There's some hints that China may be now with sending troops into the area, which is another level of thing to worry about. And, I don't know where the peace deal is we heard about a couple of weeks ago. I guess Russia said no. They continue to pound the Ukrainians, and we're certainly not the friend they thought we were.
Ellis, I gotta blame Biden a lot on this. You either go all in or you don't. And I'm not saying send in U.S. troops. I'm saying give Ukraine what's necessary to beat back Russia. And I think Biden kind of half-assed it.
Well, I may agree with you that he could have done a little bit more, but let me tell you, it was a whole lot more fulsome support than we've been getting lately, which is, I think, much closer to surrender. So maybe he should have done a little more, but now I think we're doing nothing.
Quinn?
Yeah, Corey, I think you're absolutely right, and I think Ellis is right too. What we're doing now is not just surrender to Putin; is actually helping Putin win. But that said, Biden, I don't remember which weapon systems. One of them was a tank. One of them was some anti-missile thing. But whatever the weapon system, if there was weapon system A and Ukraine wanted it, Biden said, well, we'll give you this other stuff, but we won't give you this. And then 10 months later, he said, oops, I guess you need this, but you can't have that. And then, and for 10 months, Ukraine and all of its supporters here were saying, why not give them the tanks? Why not give them the anti-aircraft missiles and
F-16s.
stuff like that? Why not?
F-16s, day one.
And if Biden could give it to him 10 months later, why couldn't he give it to him when they first passed? And so, yes, Biden did, as you say, half whatever it, and Ukraine would be better off if he had gone all in. Again, all in, not counting troops.
Hey, Quinn, black people and white people aren't leaving New Orleans as a group. You're not going to get Palestinians and Israelis leaving. You're not going to get Palestinians exiting that area of the world. This Israel-Hamas thing is getting uglier every day.
Well, look, you've heard me on the show before. In fact, that's the only time I really lost my temper on the show. I am entirely 100% pro-Israel, and I won't even get into Netanyahu, who I'm pro. But look, all Hamas has to do is give up its hostages and renounce terrorism. It's that easy. If they don't like what's happening to them, join the civilized world.
No, Hamas needs to go away. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know if Israel is got fully clean hands on this, Quinn.
Well, I think it has 99% clean hands, but we'll disagree on that.
Ellis?
Corey, I'm much closer to you on this one. I think there's plenty of blame to go around. The behavior of Israel over the last year or so has you understand the motivation, but the performance has been terrific. You know where I stand. Listen, I think we got to get rid of Hamas in Gaza, and we got to get rid of Netanyahu in Israel. We will not get peace until both of those things happen. And as I've said before, the only reason that we got the Abraham Accords with Israel, with historic peace with 5 other Arab neighbors, is because of Netanyahu. Netanyahu is a peacemaker. All he wants in return is that you renounce terrorism. It's that easy.
Do you think the Israeli people will keep Netanyahu when this thing's over?
No, I don't. And I think by the time that this is over, he'll be 76, 77, something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's time for him to retire, but I do not think he is the ogre that some of y'all portray. I think he is a peacemaker. I'm in the ogre camp on this one, and I'm even believe, and I know Quinn doesn't, but I even believe that part of the reason this thing is being dragged out so long is to protect the office of Netanyahu. He recognizes that the minute this war is over, he is over too. He is trying to get rid of the terrorists. Enough said. No, I get it.
Hey, Quinn, what you got going? If folks go to your website, what are they going to see?
Well, actually, the top story right now is back to my beloved days as a sports writer at the Times-Picayune.
Nice.
I have a reminiscence about the single greatest golf tournament ever, which started 50 years ago tomorrow.
Wow.
At the Masters in 1975. The 1975 Masters was the greatest golf tournament ever played, and I explain why. And then, of course, I've got all kinds of other stuff about New Orleans and Louisiana politics.
Yeah, you write for the Times-Picayune now, and it's mostly politics, but you've done some cultural stuff lately, non-political, like the golf thing, right?
Well, the golf thing, it was just for me. That was not for the Picayune. But I've done 3 things related to New Orleans music. I've done one related to New Orleans restaurants, et cetera, et cetera. I love Louisiana culture, and I love getting to write about it again and leaving the politics behind sometimes.
Ellis, about 15 seconds. What's at Henican.com?
You know what? Instead of hyping me, let me hype Quinn for a second. It has been so great to have him back at Ebola.com. And yes, we're writing about things that are not about right wing politics. It's just been it's a great use of his gift and gets him out of that political box that some of us get put up on sometimes. And I just think it's a terrific development. It's good for him. It's good for the city. It's good for the rest of us.
What a nice compliment.
Thank you so much.
No doubt.
Read this guy. He writes some pretty good stuff.
You're on the neutral
So
ground.
nice.
Quinn
Thank you,
Johnson
guys.
on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance, keep you cool. TM-JC.com, no spots.
Ford F-150, number one seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became number one for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. I swear I could do an entire another hour with Ellis Henican and Quin Hillyer. I love getting those guys. They're smart, they're insightful, they know what they're talking about. Quinn is a Republican, right-leaning. Ellis is liberal. It's perfect. They're both reasonable. They both have common sense. They disagree about 90% of the time, but they're never yelling at each other. Now, I could have kept going with a lot of stuff. Didn't even get into China at all. Didn't get into sending Venezuelans to El Salvador in that CCOT prison. And the Trump administration admitting they made some mistakes. Administrative error with, who's that? Abrego Garcia. Could you imagine an administrative error? What if it was Donald Trump Jr. or his other son sent down to CCOT? That jail is absolutely frightening. Now, those, gangs, they're more frightening than the CCOT jail. The gangs are more violent, more ruthless than the CCOT jail. But the CCOT jail doesn't seem like a humane prison. It doesn't seem like a prison like the Supermax in Colorado or any of the other Supermax prisons we have here. It's their way of dealing with it. El Salvador had an insanely violent crime problem. And I would say, I'm just guessing these numbers, 8 out of 10 of the people that are at CCOT legitimately should be there. And a good, double-digit percentage are wrongfully arrested, and that's their fate. That's their life. I mean, they say in El Salvador, no one gets out of CCOT. You come out in a casket. This gay makeup artist who had crown tattoos honoring his mother and father. I think the Abrego Garcia guy, he had a crown and it was the exact emblem of his favorite soccer team. And the tattoos, like they're gang members, and they send them from the United States, these Venezuelans, to El Salvador. It's just the craziest thing ever. Why weren't these prisoners sent to Guantanamo Bay? Why weren't these folks granted a hearing with a judge? This is the United States of America. We don't wing it. We don't send 100 criminals away and go, 90 of them are violent criminals. You want them on the street? And 10 of them are innocent, and that's just, what we got to deal with. A little bit of baggage, some casualties. Just how it works. It's the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Those 10 innocent people that we're sending over there, and it's crazy. It's un-American. I'm not into gangs. I'm not into gang violence. These people are ruthless. Scare the crap out of me. I have nothing against tattoos. I just say these tattooed up with the gang emblems, the gang symbols, the gang words, all tattooed all over their bodies. Those guys scare the crap out of me. They're some of the most violent human beings on the planet and need to be locked up in a jail where they never see the light of day again. But you got to make sure you get the right ones. I mean, in America, where we have a judicial system where you get a judge, you get a jury, you get representation. If you can afford it or not, you get a lawyer. We make mistakes here all the time where the wrong person is incarcerated. Now, most of the time we don't, clearly, but some of the time we do. And one is one too many. Think about if it's you or your brother or your sister or your mother or father or whatever. Can't have people in jail, and it's blatant. I mean, the Trump administration says this Abrego Garcia guy, an administrative error. We made a mistake, but we can't get him out now. What do you mean you can't get him out now? You call the El Salvador president and say, Abrego Garcia, pull him out of CCOT and fly him back. End of story. And if it is a jail you're sending folks to, knowing that you never can get any of them back, you better damn well make sure you made no mistakes then. And this gay makeup artist, it's just sad. Crying while they're cutting his hair, crying for his mother. I mean, a gay makeup artist from Venezuela in an El Salvadorian maximum security prison that has a reputation as one of the harshest prisons in the world. That guy's going to have trouble surviving days or weeks at that prison. Going to have trouble surviving. No, you know what's going to come next are some massive lawsuits against the United States, and these folks are going to win, and it's going to be tens of millions of dollars. I mean, yesterday, a Louisiana jury, and I don't laugh at the injuries to the guy. The guy who was injured deserves tens of millions of dollars. He deserves for his care to be taken care of the rest of his life. Him and his family need to be compensated. There's a guy in Lake Charles. A pipe fell, hit him on the head, permanent, brain problems. He's back pretty much like 90%, but still the brain isn't working right, forgets things, has headaches. And the worst part, from like chest down, he's paralyzed. So the company's at fault. He deserves tens of millions of dollars. He was awarded $411 million by a Louisiana jury. Just insane. Not 40 million, 411 million, like nearly $500 million, one person. And again, this guy deserves to be taken care of the rest of his life. He deserves future care money. He deserves future loss of enjoyment of life money. Tens of millions in each category, not hundreds of millions in each. And then the lawyers are pulling north of 100 million out of this deal. 100 million. I don't think it's going to be that, but it's going to be tens of millions. And the government's wrong. They're admitting it. Administrative error. They're admitting it. Abrego Garcia's family has everything in front of them. They have lawyers banging on the door. Where's that Crump guy? Where's that Crump attorney? This Abrego Garcia is right up his alley, except he's Latino. 766-9480 is the phone number. 766-9480. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, I could have gone on a whole nother hour with Quin Hillyer and Ellis Henican. And like I told you, ask a question, you sort of put my hands behind my head and plop my feet up on the desk and just, I said I needed a button where I could just push the button and it says Quin and another button, Ellis. Because Ellis will go off on something and then I just got to go Quin. And Quin will have his take on it. It's usually the opposite of what Ellis thinks. I like those guys. Like I said, I learn something every single time I get them on. Hyper intelligent, hyper knowledgeable, in touch with reality, common sense, and one's right and one's left. Hey, on Friday, Michael Heck will join us from Greater New Orleans Inc. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, the global manufacturing giant, a culture of innovation at Latrim. J.M. LePere invented the shrimp peeling machine. That is the industry standard worldwide. He invented that in the late 40s, early 50s. That led to the all-plastic modular conveyor belt, the alternating tread LePere stair. The guy was a genius, J.M. LePere. His two sons run this private New Orleans business that is a worldwide juggernaut. They did over $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, in business, this New Orleans company. They employ about 1,400 plus in Elmwood, 1,400. They got a few hundred employees on their I-12 North Shore facility. And here's the kicker. All this company does is grow and expand nationwide, worldwide, internationally. They're on every continent on the planet, and they're growing like crazy. And they need you. If you're looking for a career, a job, Latrim's got you covered. On the South Shore, East Bank, West Bank, their Elmwood facility. On the North Shore, their I-12 facility. You don't have to cross the causeway every day. Go to Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I. T-R-A-M, Latrim.com. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hour on a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Last hour, Quin Hillyer and Ellis Henican joined us. The legislative session starts Tuesday. Starts next Tuesday. Jeff Landry talking pretty big stuff right now. I'm as tired of seeing Morris Bart as I am the lizard. Boy, do you think any of that's true? Do you think we're going to see a decrease in lawyer ads on billboards and radio and television? Do you think that's going to happen? We'll talk about that and more next.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you. Boy, French Quarter Fest is going to be a Grand Slam home run starting tomorrow. 11 a.m. tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. 4 days of French Quarter Fest. Literally, and these are guesstimations, but I'm pretty close. Probably about 150,000 folks tomorrow on Thursday. 125, 130,000. Definitely north of 100,000 on Thursday. Friday, a little more. North of 150, maybe 175. On Saturday and Sunday, 250,000 folks each day. 250,000 folks each day in and out of French Quarter Fest on the weekend. They'll do about 800,000 plus people at French Quarter Fest. 800,000 plus. I've said this many times. In 4 days of French Quarter Fest, they do more than 8 days of Jazz Fest as far as people checking it out. And they're just totally different. French Quarter Fest is all local music, all local food coming from restaurants. Every food booth is a restaurant, and they have some dish that they serve at the restaurant or something similar to something they serve at the restaurant. 6, 8, 10, 12 bucks, 14 bucks at the most. Could be soft shell crabs, scallops, whatever. Great food from great restaurants, all local New Orleans and Louisiana musicians exclusively at French Quarter Fest. I like that. It's different. It stands out. 22 stages, 300 plus acts, dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of food and drink booths. And then Jazz Fest, its own thing. It's more festival food, but it ain't corn dogs and sponge cake or whatever. It's great New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana, Cajun, Creole delicacies at a festival. Probably the best festival food in the world, maybe at Jazz Fest and French Quarter Fest. Maybe the best festival food in the entire world. No, and Jazz Fest has some impressive numbers, like double-digit fans from New York, New Jersey, percentage-wise, like north of 10% from New York, New Jersey, from the East Coast, right outside of Metro New York. 10% of all Jazz Fest participants. Another double-digit percentage, north of 10%, Europeans and folks from South America. International travelers, north of 10%. You add up the folks from New York, you add up the folks that are international travelers, 1 out of 5 people at Jazz Fest aren't local. 1 out of 5 are from New York or from South America, Europe, and the number's probably much larger than that. I just know they're north of 10% from a few years ago. Had somebody call last week on the program, said they work backstage at Jazz Fest. They'll often ask folks, where you from? Where you from? He said 70% of the people, 70% are from out of town, not from here. No, Jazz Fest over 2 weekends, 4 days. First weekend, 4 days. Second weekend, locals Thursday, both weekends. We only have to pay $50 to get in instead of the 100 plus. So no, Jazz Fest is another great thing. By the way, French Quarter Fest obviously starts tomorrow, 4 straight days. Jazz Fest starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. Weekend number 1 of Jazz Fest, 2 short weeks from tomorrow, 15 days away from Jazz Fest. And 3 weeks from tomorrow, weekend number 2 of Jazz Fest. And nicely squeezed right in between French Quarter Fest and Jazz Fest standalone weekend next Thursday. Round 1 of the Zurich Classic next weekend. Rounds 3 and 4 of the Zurich Classic. French Quarter Fest, then Zurich Classic, then Jazz Fest weekend 1, Jazz Fest weekend 2. Incredible. The next 4 weeks, fantastic. And if you're a huge like French Quarter Jazz Fest person, you love music, you love food, you love the festival thing, don't, just simply say no to the Zurich Classic because it's golf. Golf for some folks could be the mere incidental. You could go there and go to these different tents, the Acme tent, the Champions Club, the 19th hole, enjoy all kind of great food. After the tournament's over, the 19th hole has a band every night, music. Everyone flocks to that. You could literally not check out much golf. You could check out a lot of golf on TV. It was funny. I was fortunate when I would cover the tournament. I would be doing updates on Buddy D's show or doing top of the hour stuff down the dial, like reports from the Zurich Classic Live with the leaderboard, things like that. But the beat writers, the guys for the newspaper, the AP, even 4, 6, 8, and 26, they pretty much have to stay glued at the media tent because they got to follow the TV broadcast. This isn't a basketball game or a football game where you're right on top of the field, right on top of the action 24/7. There's 18 holes. You can't get from one side of the course to the other to check out a star player's on a roll and you're following this guy, So the media ends up staying in that tent most of the time. And then as players come off the 18th green, they come right in between the media tent and the 18th green for a media opportunity. I was fortunate enough when I covered that tournament that I could just kind of wander the 18 holes, follow different golfers. I remember Jack Nicklaus playing for the final time 25 years ago. It was at English Turn. I walked inside the ropes on the fairway, 20 feet from Jack Nicklaus for about 5 or 6 holes. There was a camera guy pulling cable for him. There was Nicklaus and another guy he was playing with. There were their 2 caddies. And there was me and maybe one other media member. I mean, it's I walked 5 or 6 holes with Jack Nicklaus and watched him hit every shot and watched him putt and all of that inside the ropes on the fairway. So that was pretty damn cool. And then got to interview Jack Nicklaus afterwards, which was fantastic. You know, there's folks with class like Jack Nicklaus, and there are folks with no class like Greg Norman. Greg Norman's at the range. I see him. I want to go interview him. He's hitting balls. It's he's already played his round. It's me and an Australian television guy and his photographer holding a mic, standing next to his cameraman. We're just waiting for Greg Norman to finish hitting balls. Jack Nicklaus walks by the driving range by himself. Now, a lot of media folks would have just run away right away. And looking back, if I would have known what Greg Norman was about, I would have done exactly that. But I figured, Corey, you walked up to Greg Norman 5 minutes ago. He's seen you a few times. You're going to just abandon him and go after Jack Nicklaus because Nicklaus appeared? So I waited it out. Like another 5 or 10 minutes. Nicklaus headed over towards Nines Green, which is right by the side of the driving range at English Turn. So afterwards, Norman's finished, and he knows the Australian TV guy. Hey, Jimmy, whatever. What up, mate? And they talking for a second. And then the cameraman puts the camera on his shoulder. The reporter's like, you ready? And I'm right there, and I stick my mic out. And the Australian TV guy has no problem. But Greg Norman says, do you want this guy in the shot? And the Australian TV guy's like, nah, it doesn't matter. And Norman pushes me away, basically. Like just sort of pushes his hand on my microphone. So I step aside and I wait for Norman to finish this TV interview. And Nicklaus is by himself by the green on 9. Painful. So then the TV interview finishes and Greg Norman's like walking away. I go, hey, Mr. Norman, do you have a minute? And he goes, yeah, come on. And he's walking. And I'm like, can we knock out a quick interview? He goes, yeah, let's go. And he keeps walking. So, you know, I'm like, 3, 2, 1, Greg Norman. Greg, how you felt you hit it today? Blah, 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 you know, and he's walking up and down a curb. I'm trying to hold the mic by his mouth. He steps down the curb. The mic's above his head. He steps up the curb. The mic's down by his chest. Then in between, if you've been English Turn, I'm laughing at this. In between the street by the driving range and the parking lot, there's a little, you know, like neutral ground kind of thing, a little area, and it's hilly. So he hits those hills, and he's going up in the hill. I'm down in the valley. I'm trying to hold the mic. It's just crappy audio. He proceeds to unlock his car, unlock it with a key, I guess, back then. Gets inside, starts it up, slams the door, and rolls down the window, expecting me to finish the interview through the window. I just said, thanks, I'm done, and just walked off. Just walked off. I was like, what a rude SOB. Worthless. Just rude. No class. Then I go walk over to Nicklaus, and Nicklaus is standing by himself. Hey, Mr. Nicklaus. Hey, call me Jack. Okay, Jack, how you doing? Corey Johnson from New Orleans. Corey, nice to meet you. Looking me in the eye, shaking my hand with a firm handshake. I'm like, wow. Hey, I was wondering if you had a few minutes. I'd love to do a quick interview with you. Hey, do you mind waiting? Jackie, my son's coming up 9 right now. He's hitting his approach shot. I look up. There's Jackie, 100 yards out. And Jackie's got like an entourage following him of Nicklaus people. So he hits it up on the green. And then Nicklaus is like, excuse me, Corey, and walks off. And then Jack is up by the green, and Jackie Jr. comes walking up, and the entourage following him. Barbara, Nicklaus, Jack's wife, other brothers, sisters, family members, wives, son-in-laws, all that. And Jackie finishes, and this mob, Nicklaus is in the middle of it. All these Nicklaus people, like 20 of them, just walking off as a group. And I'm like, I guess I'm not getting that. All of a sudden, Nicklaus pops up his head. Corey, you ready for that interview? And I interviewed Jack Nicklaus. That's class. Greg Norman, not so much.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes are magazine, as unique as you.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King. Hey, New Orleans, if you've ever wanted to experience life on St. Charles Avenue, now is your chance. The Grand Victorian, the ultimate bed and breakfast in the Garden District on the streetcar line. Built in 1893, this magnificent house will make your special weekend getaway special. To find out more, go to gvbb.com. That's gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian, where the locals go to get away.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
You want to know one of the best compliments I ever received? And it's from a Fortune 500 type company. It was basically like the CEO and like a couple of, president, vice president types. And they had some kind of inside news, and they were giving me that inside information. And 2 things they realized, like, if it was legitimate news and it was something breaking and was real, I'm all over it. If it wasn't and it was something to help promote their company or something, I'm not touching it. So I love getting inside scoop, inside information. Anyway, this was a legitimate story. And they said they called me first. They weren't going to call any other media outlets because They basically said they're probably not going to touch it. And this was a compliment, the highest compliment I've ever received in my life from this multimillionaire, super successful CEO of a Fortune 500 type company. He was telling his other co-workers, peers at the company, Corey doesn't give a blank. And he didn't mean it like Corey doesn't care. The opposite. Corey cares passionately. But Corey doesn't care where the chips fall. Corey doesn't care who he offends when they're the ones doing something offensive, when they're wrong, especially if they're public officials, people in the public eye, and they're doing something deviant, unethical, immoral, even criminal. Yeah, I'm going to call them out, and I'm blessed because I get a compliment like that. Corey doesn't give a crap. A worse word than that. Not meaning I don't care, meaning I don't care where the chips fall, where they land. I don't. No, that's a great compliment. But also that they know I'm going to be fair and objective about it, and I'm going to look at it from all angles, and I'm not going to kiss anyone's rear end, and I'm not going to go attack anyone. I'm going to be fair and honest about it. No, I'm lucky. I'm fortunate that that's how I get to do my program. When I take this mic and camera very seriously, the responsibility very seriously. With all of that said, I like that Jeff Landry appears to be wanting to take on the ridiculous, legal, litigious state in Louisiana. The state of, the advertising with lawyers, the high insurance rates. He said, I'm as tired of seeing Morris Bart as I am the lizard. Now, two things that jump out at that. One, I want to believe Jeff Landry, but I don't. Last week, I believe he flew on, or a couple of weeks ago, Gordon McKernan. You've seen him. He's now a New Orleans attorney. His billboards are all over the city. Like, we need another friggin' television billboard attorney, another injury attorney. The last thing we need in New Orleans. So Gordon McKernan, the big G on the interstate on I-10 right by College Drive, right there in Baton Rouge. He's in New Orleans now. He's got a private jet because he does so well. Think about that. He's got a private jet because he does so well, pulling 40% of all the money that all these clients, get that never go to court, never trial. It's settling with the insurance company. Jeff Landry was on that private jet with Gordon McKernan, and they flew to Texas, and they went on a hunting trip with Gordon McKernan. Now, Jeff Landry's going to tell you, I was learning, the lawyer's point of view, the lawyer's angle. We had other legislators there. We're trying to learn from the lawyer's angle on this. Were there any marketing or promotion people? And then that would kind of be a mistake because they're going to be pro-lawyer advertising because they make money. No, I'm real fortunate that I do my own thing. I produce my own program. No one upstairs, none of the suits tell me what to say or do. They know I would walk if they ever tried it. I'd walk like that, like I have from other places that were trying to control or, keep me under wraps. So no, another thing where I'm fortunate, I've got a lot of family. I've got 4 older brothers and sisters, 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters. My mom and dad were married 50 years, never divorced. My mom's still alive. She's 94, mentally, physically with her. I see her at least once a week. My brother and sister see her a few times a week. They live right there by her. No, I'm lucky. I've got a great family. Brothers and sisters that are married. I've got nieces and nephews that I love. Really fortunate. And it goes on. Because I was the youngest of 5, because I went to a lot of different schools in New Orleans, I've got lots of friends, a lot of good friends. I had a dozen groomsmen at my wedding. Could have probably had about 3 or 4 more. I've got like a dozen great friends, best friend types, you know? Then I've got a bunch of just friends that aren't like best friends, but probably 50 that are good friends. And then I've got a few hundred acquaintances. My sister's husband calls me the mayor when they come in town, because every restaurant we go to, any shop we go to, any store, Corey seems to know somebody, or they know him, or if he doesn't know him, they're still getting extra help or service. It's like, no, you're just getting service you'd get anywhere. But, you know, I'm a nice guy. I like talking to people. I like engaging with people of all types, rich, poor, old, young, black, white, gay, straight. I don't care. So, no, I'm fortunate. I've got lots of friends and family. So I don't need to befriend the politicians. I don't need to befriend the big shots. I avoid the big shots. I'm not enamored by celebrity. I don't care if you're an athlete or rock star or actor. My brother's an actor. I covered sports for 15 years. I saw all kind of great athletes. I just mentioned a Jack Nicklaus story. I don't care about any of that. Don't need to be around those people. Don't want to befriend those people. If I naturally do, great, but I'm not trying to. So I avoid the big shots. I don't need to befriend these politicians. None of them. I'm not friends with any politicians, no judges, none of them. I got my own friends and family. I don't need those folks. Don't want those folks. They're politicians. I have to talk about them on my program. So I don't want to befriend them, because if they're my friends, it'd be hard for me to say disparaging stuff about my brother or my sister or my mother. I love them. I doubt I would be fair. If they did something wrong, I probably wouldn't be fair. So I don't befriend these people because I got to cover these people. The number one rule in journalism, don't befriend the people you're covering. I wish politics was like that. No, the legislative session starts Tuesday. Jeff Landry talking about, tort reform. But then he brings up the green lizard. Like, I'm sick of seeing Morris Bart, and I'm sick of seeing the insurance companies advertising. There's a big, big difference between those two. A major difference. We all want or need insurance. It's insurance. You're paying, and you can choose to not have it. You're in a lot of applications, not driving a car, not owning a house unless you own it outright. You own your house outright, you don't have to have it insured. You own your car outright, you just have to have insurance for, if you hit someone else. So insurance is a choice. And a lot of people would say it's a positive. It's insurance. I pay a little bit and I'm insured in case something major happens to me. I'm covered. It's an insurance policy. These lawyers that are on TV, injury attorneys, Joe Blow got me a big check. Don't accept a check till you check with me. I got $400,000. Put the Womack on him, whatever it might be, Morris Bart, whatever. That's not the same as insurance companies advertising. The Geico Lizard's not the same as Morris Bart. And what this advertising does, it tells folks to, first off, it tells folks to sue. Second, it tells folks to indirectly blame someone for maybe your fault, your own injury, that's your own fault, your own stupidity, all on you. Let's try to blame someone, find someone to blame. These TV attorneys are like televangelists. A lot of them are just full of crap. A lot of their clients are outright lying. A lot of their clients are exaggerating and embellishing what injury they do have, making it much larger. And these lawyers take the attitude like, well, I'm not a mind reader, and if I don't take the case, someone else will, and they get 40%. Morris Bart brags that he's had over $1 billion in settlements, saying, I've collected like $400 million for myself. So no, a few years ago, they tried to get the lawyers not able to advertise on billboards. The billboard companies and the lawyers, with their powerful lobbyists, stopped that. The needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. We don't want to see that crap. And it's so bad, they'll have one pole with 2 billboards on it, and it's 2 competing lawyers on the same damn pole. It's mind-blowing. I own a company, and I'm buying a billboard. I don't want my competitor on the same board, but that means there's so many lawyers buying billboards, the billboard companies have to do it. I would guess a good 40%, 50% of these billboard companies' income is lawyers. No, we need to tap that down big time. But when Jeff Landry's tight with Gordon McKernan, one of the biggest television attorneys, advertising attorneys around, I don't see how it's going away. When you befriend the people that you're supposed to cover, or in Jeff Landry's case, be a fair, objective governor, you befriend them, hard to do that. Hard to do your job.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Want to stay somewhere special when visiting New Orleans? Look no further than the Grand Victorian. Located in the Garden District on the St. Charles Avenue streetcar line, the Grand Victorian is ideally placed for visiting the city's local attractions, fabulous restaurants, shops, and more. Make your stay in New Orleans something to remember. To find out more about the Grand Victorian or to book, go to gvbb.com. The Grand Victorian.
Come experience the best smoothies in the metro area at Smoothie King. Jay and his father have been Smoothie King franchisees for decades on Jefferson Highway across from Oxnard, on Airline Highway at LeBar by Causeway. Smoothie King.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, a little nervous about Jeff Landry. All the talk is about insurance reform, insurance companies. I'm not saying they're at fault. You know, the insurance companies are part of the problem too. There's no doubt about that. But I would say the injury attorneys are the bigger part of the problem. It's obnoxious. The billboards, the radio, the television ads. Do you hear any attorney ads on this program? I might accept like Greg DeLeo. He advertises a little bit on TV with the 30 second or 1 minute, like info thing he does. And it's never about accepting a check. It's like a little law minute where you learn about the law. Now, Greg's a legitimate attorney who goes to trial for his clients. That guy who makes fun of the injury attorneys. Now, granted, he's an injury attorney, the one who comes off the plane. I got to get the money because I've already spent it. He's got the fur coat, the Rolex, the champagne. He's like making fun of all these jokers. I might take money from him and let him advertise on the program because it's funny. Maybe Greg DeLeo. I'd take Greg DeLeo's money. There's maybe a couple of other ones I'd have to really look at. I mean, I can't think of any right now that are on TV. Maybe Brander, the Jesuit kid. Maybe him. Not many. I just don't believe in it. I think it's a scam. It would be a hypocrite. I would be a hypocrite to have their ads running it. My God, doing live spots, call Morris Bart. It'd be pathetic for me to do that. So there's a reason you don't see attorneys on this program that want to be on this program, that want me to endorse their law firm and pay me to do it. It's like the gambling sites. You know how many opportunities I had to promote some gambling.com? You go place a bet on sporting events. You know how many companies there are out there? You know how many opportunities I had to make good money, like north of 10 grand a year in my pocket, simply promoting some gambling site. But I don't gamble. I don't bet. And I'm not against gambling. It's sort of just like, alcohol, cigarettes, weed, gambling. It's sort of sin stuff. Like they used to call the tax on that stuff sin tax. I don't care that it's there. I wish there'd be more gambling. There wouldn't be a gambling monopoly, a land-based monopoly in New Orleans. I wish you'd see a few other major players like Caesars spending north of $1 billion and investing in our city. We're not going to be Biloxi. We might have 3, 4, 5 casinos, maybe. Definitely a few. So I'm not anti-gambling, but I don't bet. I mean, have I ever placed a bet? Yeah. Probably 20 years ago, I placed some bets on some bowl games. I might make a bet again. I might walk into a sports book and place a $50 bet on the Saints or something like that. I haven't. I might. I'm not against it, but I don't do it. If French Market Coffee or Community Coffee called and said, we want you to promote our coffee, I'd be like, guys, why don't you just play recorded radio and TV spots? It would be hard for me to endorse your product because I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. There's nothing wrong with coffee. I love the smell of coffee, but I don't drink it. Never have. That's just me. Nothing wrong with coffee. How am I going to endorse French Market Coffee? Wake up every morning to French Market. It's fantastic. I've never tried it. Community Coffee, it's the best. You really need to drink a few cups of that every day. Get your motor going. I've never tried it. But trust me, you should, even though I haven't. So the lawyers, no, it's just bad news in New Orleans. It's in Louisiana. It's obnoxious. We're a litigious state, and that adds to our insurance rates. Crime, car insurance, carjacking, break-ins, bad drivers, that all adds up to our insurance rate. The insurance companies trying to hold on to as much money as possible. All of these things aren't good, but the governor is keying in on the insurance company, and that's easy for him to do. It's the big monster companies, national, but the local attorneys like Gordon McKernan, who he flew on his private jet, the governor, a few weeks ago to go hunting in Texas. How is he fairly objectively going to, hey, Gordon, thanks for bringing me to Texas for the hunting trip. By the way, I'm going to greatly limit your ability to advertise on billboards, television, and radio. It is estimated that lawyers like Morris Bart, Dudley DeBosier, Gordon McKernan spend millions of dollars annually on advertising and promotion. I'll promise you this. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and I'm not the dullest tool in the shed. I ever had some serious injury like a car wreck? God help me that I never do. Health is the single most important thing in the world. Health. But if I ever had some serious injury, I would run from the television attorneys. I'd hire any attorney but the TV attorneys. I would talk to friends of mine that are lawyers. I'd talk to acquaintances that are lawyers. Who do you recommend? I have a serious injury once in a lifetime to get the right medical care and to get this right. And a settlement. They owe me for this debilitating injury. I would be figuring out the best attorney, and I would run from any television attorneys. But the average person out there gets an injury. The average person sees those TV commercials. They're going to call. They want the big check. And a lot of people will outright lie, exaggerate, embellish. And these lawyers don't discriminate. They take all comers. The governor needs to step up and rein in the aggressive, blatant, overt advertising, radio, TV, billboards of these local injury attorneys. What's that, Blue Boy? Too many billboards with injury attorneys. You're right, buddy. What else? It's a gorgeous day. You ready for a walk? I hear that, buddy. Mañana.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.